All right, I'm gonna give you guys some time to come in before I get started. I need to back up. I think I'm too close to here.
It's just bright on your eyes.
Okay, well, remember, if you're gonna be in here, you gotta be quiet, okay? Okay. Well, all right. Without much further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. This is Tahiry Divine. You can find me on all my social sites as Tahiry Divine. I go by Diana, the metaphysical midwife, because I am a midwife of divine destiny. My mission and my purpose in life is to not just have a transformative experience, but in my own life, but to assist all of these rising souls and star seeds to do the same. So we're here to speak truth to power, and we're going to go ahead and get started. You guys can find me on social media as Tahiry Divine. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and as well as my own website, tahirydivine.com, where you can join my mailing list, which I am going to get more active on that because I have a really good size mailing list, and I want to ensure that you guys are my divine tribe. So if you're part of my mailing list, you guys will be getting the first-hand information that I share prior to anybody else. And Instagram has a very special place in my heart. So of course, my Instagram tubers, you guys will be getting some great information catered to you guys, and then it'll trickle down to my YouTube. So sorry, YouTube, I'm not here to neglect you. I'm actually going to be very more active with you guys, but we're putting some order to things. We're bringing some order. But all right, then, without much further ado, we're going to get to go ahead and get started on today's topic. Go ahead and start liking, commenting, and sharing this. If you are on Instagram, well, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, and share this message. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys. So this particular message I'm going to be talking about today, it's actually from my own personal experiences. Again, I'm here from my own personal experiences, and I translate that into the collective experience and how it has helped my life, and how this can possibly help you in your life if you resonate with this. Okay, so let's go and talk about this concept of worthiness, right? So I posted on my story, on my IG story, that you are not worthy until you command your worth. So let's talk about this concept of worthiness. What does it mean to be worthy? Typically when we think of worthiness, and I'm going to give this on a perspective as the feminine perspective, as I shared with you guys in my patriarchal deception, a lot of our idealization or understanding and programming when it comes to worthiness or identity is much through the gaze or the perception of what men say it's about. Now, I know some people say, well, oh, men don't. I'm not here to quantify anything. So let me tell you guys right here. What I don't do is I don't quantify. And what I don't do is I will specify, I won't quantify, and I don't coddle either side of the spectrum. I'm not here to coddle the feminine, and I'm not here to coddle the masculine. I'm here to speak truth to power, and that's what we do here, okay? I'm about accountability and taking action in your accountability. So when we understanding our worth, we have been programmed or conditioned and socialized to believe that our worth as a female or as women is through the experiences of what the male's experience of what they perceive our relationship to them must be. So whether that's through daughter, whether that's through a partner, wife, whether it's through mothering, so much of our experience has been male identified. So what I'm coming to do is to conceptualize that experience of being male identified and how that affects our worthiness and our relationships, not just with our partners, our male counterparts, but firstly with yourself, and then with other women, and then with men at large. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. If you're leaving, you got to leave, okay? Y'all know my little sidekick. She can't go nowhere without mama. But yeah, so we're talking about worthiness. So I was on my own journey, and still currently on to. You never fully arrive until you arrive. But when it comes to this concept and identity of talking about worth and my own dealings with my worthiness, I battled with that. Like many people, my story is no different than maybe 80% of the women. I was sexually abused as a child. And so that was one aspect that affected my identity as far as comes to worthiness. Not only that, I had my parents, their relationship was very volatile, although I came from a two-parent home and they were married up to my adult life. A lot of that, the dynamics between my parents' relationship was very much volatile, and it didn't create what we would consider a safe environment to be expressive. On top of their own their issues with each other, my parents, mainly my father, who had a very strong hand in the home, very much traditional type of home as far as the male being the headship and the woman being under that, and then the children. So it's like under the Christian paradigm, you have God, Christ, then man, then woman and children, or woman and children together, depending on the ideology of the men at the time, or whoever. So within that construct was what my family went by. My father was a military, actually both of my parents were military, but my father was longer in the military, and he was very about discipline, order, and obedience. That was the only thing he tolerated. He didn't tolerate anything else. There was no flow for creativity. There was no flow for expression. There would be times, of course, we'll have fun and laughter, but overall it was very much controlled by my father and how far he wanted it to be, and how much allowance he gave us to be expressive in ourselves. That stifled me as a child, on top of being sexually abused and then not giving the proper avenues to talk through this. I was so young at the time too. I was under the age of 5 when it happened to me. So the part of my developmental years, as far as feeling safe and comforted and being walked through that part of my life, wasn't there. And then growing up into my life, as far as growing up, my rendering was very much order, discipline, obedience. So there wasn't room, like I said, to be anything else. There was a joke that me and my siblings kind of go with each other. It's like, yeah, the only emotion you were allowed to have was contentment, and that was pretty much contentment. There was, don't get too happy, you better not be angry, you better not be mad. What you sad about? It was those things. The only emotion you were allowed to express was content, and obedience, if that is even a emotion, which I can go into that another time. So I'm going to this concept of worthiness. So from that conditioning, I brought that into my adult years, and even into the way that I felt about myself. I didn't feel confident about myself, especially when I was going through my pubescent years. I shared with you guys when I had started my menstrual cycle, I was freaking terrified about this thing. Like, it was like, oh, kind of like, wow, like, I'm now a woman, but then what does that truly mean? Then the guilt, the shame of being woman, and then what was expressed and said to me by my parent, my father at the time, and also my mother, added on more shame and more of this embarrassment of what it meant to be female as far as having this menstrual. And so that for me led me to a journey of experiencing what a lot of women probably experience: terrible menstrual cramps, heavy bleeding, clotting, and other issues came into that because of that stifling of my creativity and that stifling of my beingness or my humanity as female. So I battle with this understanding as far as my worthiness. Am I even a worthy person? Because I shared with you guys prior, like a week or so prior before I even started my menstrual, the sermon at the time was about how women were accursed with this blood and accursed with labor pains, but for her to be redeemed was to have children for God. So I had this whole complex and identity crisis within myself as far as I'm only good if a man claims me, because we're considered to be unclean. You know, your menstrual is unclean. Women are sinful. We created the original sin. So that concept was so deeply embedded into my psyche and into my being that it expressed physically through the clotting, through the menstrual cramping, and through all the different ailments that can happen when it comes to the vulvovaginal womb space that I experienced. And so when I came of age to be attracted to the opposite sex, or to be attracted into men or males, my my attachment style was more so trying to grip and hold onto something that would see me valuable or would see me worthy. Okay, so I was holding on to these concepts and holding on to this identity or attachment that I needed a man to stamp me and seal that I'm approved, to make an honest woman out of you, right? So, they say you need to marry this woman so you can make an honest woman out of her. So again, this although that concept about women not being honest unless there's a man that can affirm her, so, or women not being humanized unless there's a man who can claim her humanity. And even within that, you're still not fully a human, because the sins that your species of women have created for all people to experience, right? So I want to dive deeper into this concept of worth and how you're not worthy until you say that you're worthy. I see some more people coming in, so let me say hello to you guys. Hello, hi, hello. I'm so glad to see you guys. Thank you guys for coming in. So yeah. So within my own personal journey, when it comes to my relationship, I'm go with my most recent relationship, which was in my marriage. When I got married, I had to really sit with myself on why did I want to get married. At the time I got married, I really believed that I was in love with this person. This person had, and I will say I do love this person, but my love for this person was so much stronger for them than what I had for myself. Because I truly believe that if I give myself fully to this person, that I will somehow be redeemed and I will somehow be valuable and worthy of this love that I was not able to give to myself. And within that, a lot of issues came out of that. Of course, my partner had their own issues, but I'm gonna just focus on me. My issue was that I was looking for somebody to affirm my identity, to affirm who I was, and that brought problems into the relationship, and it brought problems into how I expressed myself in the world. I'm a very expressive type of person, although I'm quite reserved. I'm very much expressive. I'm a Sagittarius rising, so I have that fiery fun, and I have a fire moon sign, a fire Venus sign, and a fire Mars sign. So I'm a lot of fire. I'm a whole lot of fun. However, what I did to myself was that I snuffed out my own fire, mainly because I didn't know my own identity. I struggled a lot with identity, and I shared that story about my Saturn in the first house, Saturn return story. I shared that I had a lot of this concept of not understanding my own identity and having conflicts on how I'm perceived and then who I truly am. And so how I'm perceived is one thing, and then I would live up or attempt to live up to this identity that somebody may have for me versus what I really truly wanted. I didn't understand and know that I could speak my truth and speak on my behalf. I felt that I needed somebody else to do that for me. So when it comes to this concept of worthiness, I believed that my worth was predicated to somebody else. It was predicated to the type of friends I had. It was predicated on the type of school I went to, what kind of training I had, what title I carried, what person I partnered with. So much of my values and my worth was skewed because I believed that those around me was the reason or was the definitive voice on my worth. So when I talk about you're never worthy until you are worth it, until you command your worth, until I got to a place where really my back was up against the wall, where I was in a situation where my partner was cheating on me, or what we call cheating or having an affair. And I'm going to make sure I link this video. There's a wonderful video by Reverend Valerie Love, who goes by the Christian Witch, and she shares her story about when her husband had cheated on her and what God or Spirit spoke to her specifically based on that. So I'm going to give a little, I'm not going to go into her story. I'm just going to say this. When she, long story short, her husband and her was going out for dinner, and they were looking for their keys or tickets or something like that. And when she was looking in the car, she found a box of condoms in there. And similar situation happened to me. I found a box of condoms in my partner's gym bag, which was very kind of like, because we don't use condoms because we were married, we were married, so we don't use condoms. So like, what the hell you got these condoms for? And I know how many come in a pack, and you only have one left. So I was like, hey, hold up, bruh. Where the other two at? But anyway, so what she said, I'm gonna go back to her story. What she said was she was very distraught about it. You know, you create this whole story in your head. I did the same thing. I created this whole story in my head. Oh my God, my partner doesn't love me. Oh my God, my partner doesn't respect me. Why would he do this to me? Everything I gave up for him. I did this, I did that. And then at the same time, this was actually around the same time I was going through postpartum depression because we just had a baby and I experienced a lot of issues with the pregnancy and the labor. So to add on to all that pain that I was having physically and emotionally with having a child, on top of the pain I felt from my partner from seeing that they was doing this as well. And I played that story in my mind over and over again, like, why with me? Why this? Well, this whole woe is me. So back to Reverend Valerie Love's story, when she was going through that process of, feeling sorry for herself and what has taken place, she said, Spirit of God spoke so clearly to her and said, nobody can do to you what you have not done to yourself. And it was so funny because I actually found that video maybe a month after I found out that my partner had this extramarital affair. And when she came to the realization of that is so true. No one can do to us what we haven't already done to ourselves. Anything that happens outside of us is a representation or a mirror of sorts of what we have already done to ourselves. For example, she gave the example for her. Well, I'm going to get into the example for myself. That resonated with me because what was resonating inside me, what was voiced to me through my own spirit was saying, remember that time you said you was going to start that business and you didn't do it? Oh, remember when you said you was going to lose that weight and stop eating that ice cream, but you didn't do it? Oh, remember when you told yourself that this is it, you're not going to take this anymore, but then you kept going through? Oh, remember when you said you was going to walk away, leave, but you stayed? So did this person really cheat you, or did you cheat yourself? And now you have a manifestation of what you've done to yourself being reflected back to you through your said partner. That hit home very hard for me. And one thing about me, I'll say this. I have experienced a lot of hardships in my own life. And sometimes I'm very kind of cool through a lot of things, like a lot of things that may be devastating to people, which I'm not saying I've never been devastated in my life. I have learned to take harsh lessons in grace and accept them as such. So when I came to that understanding, like, wow, he didn't do anything to me that I haven't done to myself. And I'm actually cheating myself by staying in a partnership or a relationship where I feel disrespected, where I feel not valued. And the reason why I feel disrespected and I feel not valued is because I don't respect myself and I don't value myself. And I did not, at that time, I did not speak up for myself or speak and be fully who I was. So that was a shifting point for myself, saying, you know what, the buck stops here with me. I witnessed it go through my parents. I witnessed it, with my grandparents. And here I manifested the exact same thing because I did not value myself and know my worth. So let's talk about commanding worth. What does it mean when you say you command your worth? Does that mean you're being, oh, you look at me, I'm worthy? No, that's not what commanding worth means. When you command your worth, it is when you stand in your truth and in your empoweredness of saying yes and to say no. That is commanding your worth. Your worth is commanded by your presence. It has nothing to do with what you have to say. Because one thing about men that I've learned in relationships, men don't give a damn about what you say. Okay? You could say things all day long. Oh, I'm sick of you. I'm so sick of this, tired of this, blah, 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 blah. I'm leaving, I'm doing. They don't give a damn until you actually do something. Until you actually walk out and leave and don't come back. Oh, and then they's like, oh, wait a minute. She's serious. Oh, is she about that? That's when you command your worth, is when you have the ability, because you already have the ability, when you stand in your ability to defend yourself by standing in your power and your truth, in knowing what you say yes to and what you say no to. That is true power. That is truly commanding your worth. I want to share something that was written by Aisha Faines. If you're not familiar with Aisha Faines, she is the founder of Women Love Power. She does this wonderful master classes of the feminine archetypes. And I really highly recommend. I'll make sure I leave her when I save this live. I'll leave her information so that you guys can actually, for you women, ladies, can take her feminine archetype quiz to find out what archetypes of the feminine that you mostly embody. We embody all the archetypes, but however, some are more prevalent in our lives than others. Before I get to my own archetypes, I want to talk about specifically what she wrote. She wrote this, I want to say this had to do, no, I don't think it was about the Will and Jada situation, but she wrote a really great, really nice piece about Will and Jada. I think it's ingrained into women to sacrifice and not stand up for ourselves, and it's really sad. Exactly, that's a part of our program. That's part of the socialization. Particularly even when I talk about Black women, what Black women put up with and what we endure. It's like we are meant to be the backbone, and being the backbone means we're supposed to continue to endure, continue to just keep hope alive and just be hoping one of these days he gonna get right. If I just keep on giving, if I keep on loving, he gonna get right. No, you gotta do for yourself. I'm gonna read this piece that she wrote about commanding worth. It says, when I walk in a room, I don't demand my worth. My presence alone commands it. Women, even more so Black women, that's my own emphasis, do not ask or command for their own worth when it comes to salary negotiations. She then goes to say, with Black Lives Matters, she said, when it comes to Black Lives Matters, we should talk about fair compensation as it has to be a part of our activism. In this piece right here, she's talking about women demanding their worth in the workplace. So one thing that I've learned, and I learned this after my relationship had ended, and a little prior before, I worked in the hospital for many years. I was in the healthcare industry for many years. And when I decided to apply for this other position that I really felt that I was qualified for, because I've been in the industry for so long, I'm like, you know what, I really feel like I qualify for this position based on my education, my background. I did everything you're supposed to do. I did the internship. I did the master's degree program. I did I did everything you were supposed to do to get to this place where I felt that I deserved this position and in this place. When I got there and they offered me the position and they offered me the salary, well, they told me this is the salary for it. And I said, well, I'd like to negotiate the terms of the salary. And I was told immediately, oh no, we're not doing that. You need to be happy that we offered it to you. Now, this is interesting about that job it was actually a Black ran department, if you want to call it that. And so it was mainly a lot of more Black people, Black women who were in power or in leadership in this department. And I remember when who would have been my supervisor later times told me that, just be happy that you got chosen for this. And that is constantly always kind of put onto us as women, particularly Black women. Just be happy that somebody chose you. Just be happy you got picked, because you're the undesirable one. You're the one that nobody really wants around. There's this kind of like this theme, and that plays into our psyche as far as where we feel our worth and our value comes apart based on the relationships or the proximity to those around us. And that affected me very much so. It even affected my performance in the job. Like I'm very Virgoan. I'm a Virgo everything. So actually my Virgo energy was very much prevalent for this job, because like meticulous detail was important when you're working in this in clinical research. Clinical research is very impeccable that you follow orders and rules and all that stuff. But anyway, and I can remember how it affected me because I didn't feel valued by my supervisor. And even there was little cattiness that came in, and I was very young at the time. It was the very first time in like a real salary job that I was just putting up with this. Mainly because I put up with it through my own family. I was putting up with this type of disrespect in my relationship. And I did the same thing in my job, where it came back to the point where I was like, okay, I was done with everything. Everybody getting cut off. Man, woman, child, dog getting cut off too. And so when I came to the place of realizing I need to know who the hell I am, because I'm not happy and I am not being vindicated by people who I feel should vindicate me. I learned in that process that I had to vindicate myself. And I learned in that process what it was that I truly valued about me. And I had to go through this journey of self-love. And as cliche as it sounds, it really, when you're talking about knowing your worth and your value, that is an act. It is a radical act of self-love. And that's what we as women and just humans in general, we need to have radical acts of self-love, that your love for yourself is so strong and so empowered that you do not allow anyone to dishonor that, your peace and your well-being. So currently right now, as disclosure, or not any disclosure, but it's just sharing my journey. Currently right now, Pluto is transiting my second house. And this is very prevalent for my life because I'm going through this process of my own life where I left a partner that took care of all my economical and financial needs, and I ended up leaving this partner. And it was a scary thing to do because I felt that I couldn't stand on my own because I had left my job at the time. I had this baby. I was having health problems. I had to go through surgeries. I just had a lot of problems, and I was terrified because I knew I had to get out. I just didn't know how could I do that and stand on my own. And I share with you guys about that story where I was beefing with my ancestors at the time because they wanted me to do one thing which I knew in my heart and spirit I had to do, but I didn't want to do out of pride and out of emotional immaturity. A lot of that too, when it comes to us not valuing ourselves, it comes from emotional immaturity and us not being mature enough to seek ourselves out, that we seek it from other people. And we realize within that part of our journey that, hey, nobody else can do for me what I must do for myself. So I'm going to write this. I'm going to share with you guys what I wrote down in my journal when I'm talking about this concept of worthiness, right? My worth supports my likelihood. This is what the second house is about. My second house is about my survival. It's about me supporting myself. It's about me investing in my health, my safety, and my community. When I am comfortable financially and economically, I am able to prioritize my life in other ways besides surviving. This is what I have been in. I have been in constant survival mode. I am now ready to be in thriving mode. I understand now the importance of money and what it means for me. Money does not buy me love, and money does not make me feel better about myself. However, I recognize that money helps buy solutions to my problems and helps level out the stressors in my life that deprive my ability to love myself and experience joy. When I command my worth, I do that in negotiating my salary. I do that in pricing my creative works. And I do that by commanding the type of love I allow in my life. How do I know my worth? By knowing what I want and being clear about my intentions, being clear about my motivations, and being steadfast on what it is I know I need and what I know I want. If I want to be recognized, seen, honored, valued, appreciated, I must recognize myself. I must see myself. I must value myself. I must support myself. And I must fairly compensate myself. The same way I do for others. I'm almost done, sweetie. The same way I do for others. The same way I do for myself, I must do for others. I must see their value. I must appreciate their value. I must support them and fairly compensate their works. Accountability and responsibility belongs to me. My worth is mine. What taught me to neglect my worth? I release that from my life. I see that the change that I desire comes from the inside. It is my responsibility to command my worth. It is my responsibility to be consistent and intentional with my value, with my healing, and with my progress. And I realize there are no shortcuts to healing, and there are no shortcuts to demanding my worth and demanding my value, or commanding my worth and commanding my value. So, with that lesson today, or that sharing I have done, was commanding your worth. In order to do that, you must know and be clear about your motivations and your intentions. What do you really want? and never waver on that. Because when we waver and we give in, we say, well, I guess I should give in because they're trying. No. Thank you for trying. But what you may consider to be your best isn't the best for me. And that is fair and that is honest. Say yes to the things you say yes to and say no to the things you do not want. Boundaries is so important. And recognizing your boundaries and honoring them is where you start in honoring and knowing your own worth and your own value. So you are never worthy until you command your worth. That's all I have for today, guys. If you guys have anything else you guys want to say or add in the chat, I am listening. I do think, I do want to share this clip, guys, from this movie that I just found out about today. So shout out to my girl Cerebral on YouTube. She did live today, and she actually posted this clip. And I'm going to try to see if I can find it real quick. Mommy, you have to wait till I'm done, okay? What do you need? What do you need, baby? Okay, I'm almost done. Yes, this is it. So the clip, before it plays, it's from this movie called Luck Club.
Rose,
I'm
standing out in the rain.
Hold on, before I get to it. Okay, before I get to it, so I just found out about this movie. So this movie is about a Japanese family, mother-daughter relationship. The daughter has gotten married to this guy that just completely adored her because he loved her, that she stood in her power, that she was who she was. However, within the relationship, the daughter started to give up herself as far as the things that the man loved about her. It's so funny because that's very similar to my own situation. However, it was more so my partner wanted to control the aspects of myself, and because I wasn't trying to control myself, I allowed my partner to control me. So again, taking responsibility for myself. But this is a scene when she decided to leave her husband, and I want to share this scene because I feel like it's so important, and it's just really kind of ties into this message of value and worth. So let me go into the clip now, guys.
Rose, I'm standing out in the rain ringing the bell for 15 minutes. Are you okay? Honey? Are you okay? Honey?
Get out of my house. You heard me. Get out.
Honey, it's our house. We agreed to sell it. That's why I'm here.
You're not taking my house. You're not taking my daughter. You're not taking any part of me. Because you don't know who I am. I died 60 years ago. I ate opium. I died for my daughter's sake. Now get out of my house.
I'm listening.
It's not your fault. None of it. I was the one who told you that my love wasn't good enough. That your love was worth more than mine. I was so full of shit.
I just want to share.
My house.
All right. I just wanted to share that clip right there. And you know what, that I haven't seen this movie. I guess I just found out about this movie today where my girl Cerebral on YouTube, she played this clip. So I'm actually gonna find this movie and buy it and watch it myself fully. But that scene was so important to because that is what we do, particularly as women. But I know this is exactly what I did in my relationship. It was a 10-year relationship. And that whole time, I was trying to prove to myself or prove to this person that I was worthy of love, that I was worthy to be chosen. Pick me, right? You must value me. There's so many great things about me, although I didn't even believe the things that I was thinking was great about me. And so when we did finally, get married, had our children, I gave up so much more of myself and I allowed this person to take away the things or strip away the things that made me me. I loved dancing. I was a dancer and I allowed that relationship to push me away from that. I loved to draw and sing and create art, and I allowed that relationship to take that away from me because I merged myself into this person. And you know what? To be a healer, you gotta share, right? You can't heal unless you call it out. When we got married, it took me 9 months before I changed my name. I had this identity crisis within myself because now I was like, oh my God, I don't even know who I am. Maiden name wise, I've been for 26 years. Now I gotta be Mrs. such and such for the next remainder of my life. And so I allowed this person or allowed myself to be fully engulfed into this person's life, be the kind of person they wanted me to be, dress the way they wanted me to dress, look the way they wanted to look, be friends with the people they wanted me to be friends with, or no longer have my friends or my associations. And I allowed that to happen because I thought that if I give myself fully to this person, I will get the redeeming love that I think I deserve. Oh my goodness, yes, I done that. So real. What you wrote in your journal was really beautiful. It's not what we attract, it's but what we allow. Exactly. It's not what we attract, because I attracted some really great, like honestly, I attracted some really great men in my life, but I didn't say yes to them because I didn't think I was worthy of it. I didn't think I was worthy of someone to really be loved with me, because I was never wanting to like, oh, he got to be this tall, this cute. Girl, I would date short dude, black dude, white dude, Asian dude, skinny dude, fat dude. I didn't care. Like, if you had liked me or you made me feel passion inside, that's what drove me. This particular person came into my life, who I had married, been in my life since I was a teenager, and we had a child together. So that was another driving force on why I felt I had to be attached to this person, because you have to make an honest woman out of me. You have to marry me. You have to do this. You have to do, So that was my own motivation, my subconscious motivation on being married and really stressing the issue, and not understanding my value and my worth. And when I listened to that clip from that scene, it resonated so much in my own life that I gave up. I said to this person that your love is more valuable than my love. Your life is more valuable than my life. Your existence is more valuable than mine. And when I decided that my life was valuable, my love is valuable, and that I am valuable, that changed the ball game. And so that's what I want to be the take-home message is from this, is that you command your worth. It is your responsibility. It is your ability to say yes to what you say yes to, and to say no on what you say no to. All right, ladies and gents, anything you guys want to say before I head out? I will make sure to save this live. I did put the clip of that scene in the pinned comments. Also, I have my link if you guys are interested in booking a session with me. I do free consultations just to see what service that I provide may be the most beneficial for you. One thing I don't believe in one size fits all when it comes to doing a reading, because tarot may be for one, but it may not be for somebody else, and then maybe we just need to talk. You know, sometimes you just need somebody to talk it out and listen and just reflect back to what you may be saying so you can see yourself. But all right, good stuff. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hey, Frankie, thank you for coming in. Hey, Ty, thank you for coming in. So yes, thank you. But yeah, if there's hey. Oh, thank you. I needed this. Yeah, you know, we all need this. And this is so interesting because right now Venus is in Gemini. I believe Mercury is in Gemini right now too. And Chiron is currently in Aries retrograde. So we collectively is feeling this concept of looking in the mirror and recognizing how those that we have in our life are direct reflections of where we feel. So any person that we attract, whether it's a friend or a partner, is an exact reflection of what's inside us, because you cannot attract what you are not. So when we want to pin things on the other person, well, this person does me like this and this person does me like that and they don't do this and that's that. That's because we did it to ourselves first. And that's one of the toughest pills to swallow, but the best pill to take. The best pill to take is recognize that everything in life, good and bad and indifferent, is because of self. Like I shared with you guys, that to be in the 4D or 5D area is to recognize that you, your sovereign source self, you control your mind, your body, and the soul. So you are the box. You are the one that can move this Merkaba body and move between dimensions and spaces. But in order to do that is to take full accountability of yourself, to take full accountability of your experiences. Even the victimization that you may have no control over, you still take full accountability of healing that and full accountability of thriving and moving forward from it and taking the lesson, the blessing, the wisdom. Because a lot of things that we experience is not so much for ourselves, especially if you are called to heal on a public format, like if you are a musician, an artist, a healer, a teacher, whatever you do that's on the public front, you are still healing publicly. You are the bold ones. You are the brave ones to say, this is my story, and I express my story through my creative purposes and my creative arts, through my creative expression, whatever your expression is. Mine is just to talk about my life. Yours may be through music. Yours may be through dance. It may be through writing. It may be through the way you parent, the way you friend, the way you keep up your home. Whatever your expression is, be true to you. And do not allow yourself, again, do not allow yourself to invite people who are going to diminish what you worked so hard for. You worked so hard for this. Well, all right, ladies and gents, that's all I got for today. I am so happy to be in this space with you guys. If you guys are interested in working with me on any of my different services, you may definitely click the links in the pinned comment or in my bio. I look forward to coming back with you guys again. Oh, wait, I forgot something. Important announcement. I forgot about this. Starting Monday, on the new moon, I am going to be doing a 30-day Power of Prayer series. For 30 days, we're going to be talking about the power of prayer. I know we hear so much, or we sometimes correlate power or prayer to maybe being only something that Christians do, or maybe the Judeo, the whole Judeo-Christian, Islam, and all the other religions that they do. But prayer is so much deeper than that, and prayer is beyond religion. It's beyond any of that, and it's actually a universal law. We get caught up in the first 7 universal laws, but there are well over 30 to 100 universal laws. So I'm going to be doing a 30-day Power of Prayer series for 30 days straight here on Instagram and on my YouTube simultaneously. So I'll be recording from both sites, so you guys can watch me on YouTube or here, where we'll be discussing the universal law of prayer and how to activate that in your life to see the change that you require to see and to experience the change that you want to experience. So if you guys are interested in that, starting July 20th on Monday in the new moon in Cancer will be the first series of the Power of Prayer. I look forward to going through this series with you guys and with you all as well as we journey together as we embody what the power of prayer can do in our life. So in 30 days, we'll see that transformation that we're looking for. And I'm excited about that. But all right, ladies and gents, thank you guys. And have a great night.